And we are live. Happy New Year's, everyone.
Good evening.
Happy New Year, boys. I think that was Victor. And I think Sandra. Hello?
Yes, good evening.
I'm getting better with voices. Ray, let's see if we can hear you. Not yet. It says you're unmuted.
Has Ray been able to speak yet?
He's trying to. It says he's unmuted, but I have not heard a word from him.
It could be he might have to update his version of Zoom. Yeah. I mean, he could try signing out and signing back in again. That might help with the audio issue, but could be that he needs to update his version of Zoom that's on his device.
Ray, did you hear that? Maybe try signing out and signing back in, but I know this has been a problem many times over.
Hey, Jeremy, my Zoom says that I'm in a practice session. I don't understand what that means.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It says you are in a practice session.
Yeah, I just haven't started the meeting yet. I start a practice session a half hour before the meeting is supposed to start. I now see it's 6 p.m. Cesar, with your approval, I'll start the webinar.
Yep, go right ahead.
And now that we're no longer in practice session, you'll hear recordings in progress, and you'll see attendees will start to populate as well. We're close, Cesar.
Yeah, where are we?
I believe we're one shy. John Fontillis let us know he's running a little late.
Okay,
So perhaps you want to do his committee report second.
sure.
I believe we have it, but it's just 6. You might want to give it a minute or two.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 minutes just to allow other folks and members of the public to join us. So let's do 2 minutes and then we'll get started.
Hello and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you too, Pat.
Okay, Jeremy, I think we should get started. So we're live now, correct?
We're live. Would you like Maria to call the roll?
So let me just say a couple of things before we go and do the roll. So first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. I want to first start by acknowledging that perhaps it isn't happy for all of us. Things have not been so wonderful. So I want to acknowledge that in addition to celebrating the holiday, some of us have encountered sickness again, and COVID has reared its ugly head in some of our homes. And so I'm hoping everyone at least still had an opportunity to just be at peace for even a little while over the holidays and over this time that we had a break. I also, before we get into the meeting, I want to acknowledge two new board members who just joined us this week. Frankly, I attempted to reach out, but I was unsuccessful. But I want to give each one of them a minute now to just introduce themselves. Tell us anything you want us to know about you, and yeah, anything at all. So I'm going to start with Mix Lara. You're up.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. My name is Joseph Lara. I am a native New Yorker. I am very passionate about policy, immigration, housing, issues dealing with the queer community and the disabled community. I'm very happy, fortunate to be able to join you all. And I really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. And then Mr. Bahi.
Hey, greetings all to everybody. Thank you for having me. Very grateful and blessed to be part of this amazing initiative and group. A little bit about myself. I'm the executive director of MCC Muslim Community Center here in Sunset Park. We've been here for the past about 6-7 years. And also the founder and president of Muslims Giving Back, a local nonprofit or charity that focuses a lot on food insecurities. Maybe you've seen our truck called the Hunger Truck, a big red truck with the lights. We pretty much go all over New York City to feed homeless communities. We go into food deserts and just try to give back as much as possible. So definitely charity giving back has been a passion of mine, and it will continue to so. But I see Sunset Park as my second home, and I want nothing for it but to flourish alongside its residents and friends. So thank you for having me.
So thank you to the both of you. Welcome. Thank you for stepping up and serving on the community board. And let's get started then. So my name is Cesar Zuniga, and I'm the chair of Community Board 7. And I hereby officially open this public meeting. So like always, let's start with Beverly and her wonderful flag and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Okay, roll call now, please.
Hey, good evening, all board members. I will be calling your name. Once I call your name, please unmute yourself, say present or here, and then mute yourself once again. Thank you. Okay, Ramona Acevedo. Ramona Acevedo, I see you'll mark you present. Thank you. Set, please mute yourself. Sandra Alfonso.
Present.
Thank you. Grisela Amador.
Present.
Thank you. Genesis Aquino.
Here.
Thank you. Nicholas Azadian.
Present.
Thank you. Mohammed Bahi.
Present.
Thank you. Joan Body.
Here.
Thank you. Stacy Boyd.
Here.
Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Gladys Bruno. Julixa Campusano.
Present.
Thank you. Joseph Canale. Joseph Canale. Justin Collins.
Here.
Justin Collins.
Here.
Thank you.
Here.
John DeLuper.
I'm present.
Thank you. Beatrice DeSapio.
Here.
Thank
Here.
you. David Estrada.
Here.
Thank you. Cynthia Felix.
Here. Hello, everyone.
Thank you. John Fontillis. John Fontillis. King Fung, Kin Fung, John Garcia, John Garcia, Anthony Giglio, Anthony Giglio, Cynthia Gonzalez,
Here.
thank you. Hector Gonzalez,
Here.
thank you. Kenny Guan, Kenny Guan, Nicole Huang, Nicole Huang, Zachary Jacy,
Here.
thank you. John Johnston,
Here.
thank you. Beverly Kleiman, Beverly Kleiman, Waco, Waco, Joseph Lara,
Present.
thank you. Barbara Lee, Barbara Lee, Christina Lem, Christina Lem, Jimmy Lee,
Yeah.
Jimmy Lee, Paul Mack,
Here.
thank you. Antoinette Martinez, Antoinette Martinez, Aurelis Martinez,
Here.
thank you. Marilyn Melman, Marilyn Melman,
Here.
thank you.
Okay.
Dan Murphy,
Here.
thank you. Gloria Rodriguez Navoa, Gloria Rodriguez Navoa, Julio Pena III,
Present.
thank you. Rorika Rashkashan,
Here.
thank you. Karen Rolnick,
Here.
thank you. Patricia Ruiz,
Here, and Pat is fine.
okay, thank you. Sam Sierra, Sam Sierra, Brian Slater,
Present.
thank you. Victor Swinton,
Present.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Cindy Vanderbosch,
Present.
thank you. Catherine Walsh, Catherine Walsh, Fred Wolf, Fred Wolf, Cesar Zuniga,
Present.
thank you. And I'm acknowledging Joseph Canales. I see his hand raised.
Please
Yeah, I
unmute
think I was missed
yourself.
on the roll call. It's just to say that I'm present.
Okay, I'm acknowledging you.
Thank you,
All right,
Joe.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Roll call's been called.
Okay, so just a couple of things. I know we have a couple of our elected officials with us, and so I want to get to them as soon as possible. Just one housekeeping. Board members, if you were called and you didn't get a chance to respond, there's going to be another roll call. Please make sure that you're next to your computer so you can be marked present. Members of the public, we have a public comments period before we get started with our committee reports. That period is only for items that are on the agenda. So if you wish to speak about something that's on the agenda, I would suggest that you sign up, or that Maria and Natasha were making the sign up available, correct? For
They can
public-
raise their hands, they can raise their hands, and they'll be called on one at a time to speak for 3 minutes regarding the items on the committee report, on the agenda for the committee reports.
Thank you. And then if there are things you want to talk about that are not on the agenda, then there's another public comment period at the end of the meeting, and the same thing, just raise your hand and you'll get acknowledged for 3 minutes. I want to emphasize the word comment. It's unfortunately not a context where we can do back and forth conversation or questions, responding to questions. It's really just for you to make a comment on anything that you would like to bring to the board's attention. So with that, I apologize, gentlemen. I'm not sure who showed up first. So I'm gonna go with Senator Briscoe.
Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. Great to see you all, Community Board 7. Is anyone able to give me permissions to share my screen? Either chair or the host or, okay.
Sure.
Well, so yeah, it's a pleasure to see everyone. And as soon as I have permissions, I have some state updates for you.
Jeremy, can you do that for the senator, please?
Sorry, I'm doing that right now.
Thank you.
Senator, you could share your screen now.
Really appreciate it. So thank you. Okay, so slideshow. So first things first, in Albany, we extended remote meetings. We didn't put an end date on remote meetings. We tied it to the state of emergency. Whenever the governor says we are no longer in a state of emergency, that is when remote meetings will end. The current state of emergency we're in is set to expire January 25th, but I think we can all expect that it will be extended beyond that due to everything going on with Omicron. The next big update I want to give you is that redistricting, this is a redistricting year. So the lines will change. You may see people on the ballot in June who are different than you were used to seeing. If you just look near the bottom of your screen, we're pretty much on the last stage of the redistricting phase. The second to last one was the commission submitting their maps. They submitted them early. They were voted down by the legislature, and they will be submitting a second round either later this month or earlier next month for consideration. The eviction moratorium expired this past Saturday on the 15th. So I wanted to share two resources for any tenants who are worried about eviction. One, the ERAP portal has reopened, and if you apply while your application is being under consideration, you are protected from eviction. And secondly, the legislature has passed the Tenant Safe Harbor Act. So if you have experienced loss of income or hardship due to COVID, and you weren't able to pay rent, you cannot be evicted for that non-payment from March of 2020 up until January 15th of this year. A judge can issue a money judgment on you, but they cannot issue an eviction order on you. A few things from my office in terms of legislative priorities this coming year. The first two are bills from my office. The first would eliminate co-payments for all parents in the state of New York and guarantee free access to childcare for all parents in the state. The second would divest the teachers fund from fossil fuels to move us into a clean green economy. The next three are just other people's bills that I'm very passionate about. The third one you can see on your screen is the New York Health Act for a single payer health system. The second one is the fourth one is a bill that would allow the state to build publicly owned renewable energy to complement what's going on in the private sector. And the last one you can see is good cause eviction, which would for tenants throughout New York State. Lastly, we have about 1,000 KN95 masks and 1,000 tests, thanks to the governor's office, that we will be distributing throughout the district in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for where and when. And as always, if you have any questions for me, you can reach out to my email. It's brisport@nysenate.gov. And to follow along with updates from the district, you can go to bit.ly/SD25-updates. Thank you.
Senator, thank you so much for coming by and making this presentation. Do you have time for one or two questions? Okay, so board members, if you have a question for the senator, please raise your hand. Nick, go ahead.
Sorry, I was muted. Senator Brisport, specifically to the publicly owned renewable energy. I believe the state of California tried this and then got absolutely hosed in the energy market and ended up losing a ton of money. How does this program differ from that? And is there a way to try to protect the state? Because usually the energy players are pretty much sharks in terms of buying and selling energy when it comes to that.
I mean, I have an answer, but I see Assembly Carol is chomping at the bit to answer. I think he carries the bill in the Assembly.
I don't mean to interject during Senator Brisport's update, but the Build Public Renewables Act, would expand NYPA's authority, which is the New York Power Authority's ability to actually own and operate renewable energy generation. Currently, it's only allowed to own up to 6 generation plants, and they can't be over 25 kilowatts. Now, you're correct that, look, it's a very, very complex system. That being said, I do believe, that there are a number of publicly owned power utilities throughout the country, Nebraska maybe being the gold standard, that have proven that you can create a well-functioning public utility system that provides cheaper rates for ratepayers. And that's what we're trying to do here. It is a competitive market, but I do believe that New York can do that.
Thank you.
And I'll just add that in the data I've seen out on Long Island, the LIPA, the Long Island Power Authority, has been able to offer cheaper rates than private providers.
Great. So if any other questions for the senator, otherwise we can let him go and then introduce our assembly member.
I don't see additional hands up.
Great. Again, Senator, thank you for stopping by and thank you for the update. Okay, so with that, let's go right to our assembly member, Bobby Carroll. Hey, Bobby, go ahead.
Hey, Cesar and Jabari, if you're still there, thank you for letting me interject there. And he put me to shame. I did not bring a PowerPoint presentation. But let me just give you some updates. Both Senator Brisport and I are clearly in Albany. And so that is the one lucky thing about Zoom, is that we can talk to all of you even when we are not in Brooklyn. Last week, I was able to pass a bill that I've had for a number of years around DOB reform and having DOB actually report violations directly to community boards. So we passed that last year as well. Hopefully the Senate will take that bill up. Also today, the governor has released her budget bills. And so she announced her budget last week. But now we actually have the physical bills. We're seeing it's a $216 billion budget, which is a record budget in New York. We're going to see record spending for both primary education, K through 12, as well as for CUNY and SUNY, which is wonderful. And hopefully we will be seeing record spending and investment in green energy and a whole host of infrastructure projects that are desperately needed for New York as we recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. But I don't want to drone on here. If anybody has a quick question for my office, I'd love to answer it. But I know that you have a full agenda.
So any questions for our assembly member?
So I don't see any board members' hands up. Members of the public, I do see 2 hands up. Unfortunately, this portion of the board meeting is for board members to speak. The members of the public may speak during the 2 public comment periods as Cesar laid out earlier. Sorry about that.
So I think, Bobby, we're good. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Great. Thank you, Cesar. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, let's get back to our agenda. I don't think there are any other actual electeds. Is that right? Let me just look very quickly. I don't see anyone.
I don't believe so, Cesar.
Thank you. So let's continue. So let's go right to the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Pat motions.
Pat, seconded.
Seconded
by Julio. Would like to move this by unanimous consent, and seeing no objections or hearing no objections, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, adoption of the minutes of the December 15th board.
Pat motions to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, same thing. I'd like to move this through by unanimous consent, unless there are any objections. Okay, no objections, so moved. Okay, let's go right to, I'm sorry, public comment. So are there any hands that are raised for the first public comments?
I have two hands. They're the same folks who had their hand. There are a few folks now. The same two folks who had their hands up for the assemblyman. I just want to remind you that this public comment is about items that are on the agenda. You're more than welcome to speak on those, and I will call you in order. The other public comment, of course, is for items that are not on the agenda. I, of course, am the timekeeper, and if you look at my screen, you will see the countdown clock starts at 3 minutes. I have Linda Orlando first. Linda, you could unmute yourself. Linda Orlando. Last call for Linda Orlando. Okay, I guess we could get back to you later. I have Dana Mwanda next. Dana, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hello, everybody. My name is Dana Mwanda, and I am the principal of Windsor Terrace Elementary School, part of the Brooklyn Prospect Network. And I wanted to just get on tonight and say thank you very much to this board and to the Land Use Committee for your time and for working with us so graciously as we got our proposal and everything ready. Being part of this community is a big deal to me. I'm somebody who went to school in District 15, grew up in Brooklyn, and being part of the Sunset Park community is really important and special to me. So we're really looking forward to being good neighbors and looking forward to growing our school in this community for years to come. So again, thank you so much for your time and for your graciousness and support.
Thank you. I'm gonna give Linda Orlando one more chance. Linda Orlando. Cesar, we're at the end of our list.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's get right to committee reports. John, you're here, yes? Yep, there you are. So John, you want to go ahead and make your presentation?
Thanks, Cesar. I slipped in quietly. Hi, everybody. John Fontillas, Land Use Committee Chair. The item on this section, I'm going to go over the two agenda items that we had on our Land Use Committee meeting on January 12th, last week. The first one will require a vote. The second item is really for information only, and we'll be asking for the board's input on a letter to be drafted. So on the first one, this was, the address is 341 39th Street. It is seeking a city planning resolution 7319 special permit to allow a proposed use group 3 charter school in an M12 zoning district. The applicant is the Brooklyn Prospect Charter School. And just for record, the BSA application is 2021-56-BZ, seeker number 22-BSA-009K. This is a continuation of a discussion that we had on the committee as well as the board, full board in November. We had conducted a public hearing and a preliminary land use committee meeting on November 1st regarding this application. And several members of the school presented, as well as their land use council and planning council as well that night, and came back to present on the 12th of January. Just a reminder what the project is. It's a proposal for Brooklyn Prospect Charter School to locate a K-5 facility at 341 39th Street. This is the large Sunset Yards warehouse building between 3rd Avenue and 4th Avenue on 39th on the north side of the street. The building is in an M zone district, so therefore schools can be permitted there if they go for this special permit. So as part of the community board's purview of this, we review those applications, and it's being conducted through the Board of Standards and Appeals. Brooklyn Prospect Charter School was founded about 13 years ago. It's a diverse charter network serving Community School District 15. They have an international focus, and they intentionally recruit faculty and student body that reflects the diversity of the neighborhoods that they operate in. They operate 6 schools in CSD 13 and CSD 15 with about 2,200 students, and have about 400 plus educators, faculty members serving that student population. We all know that their high school currently is at Fort Hamilton Parkway I'm blanking out on the street, but just a couple of blocks away from the mobile station that's there. I guess that shows you how I know that part of the district. And they have a middle school at 40 Flatbush Avenue Extension that will move to 17th Street in, I believe, this fall. We had reviewed that application and approved that a couple of years ago. They also have a couple of other elementary and middle school locations, but their long-term plan is to set up a series of K-8 schools to feed back to the high school at Fort Hamilton Parkway. The premises that they're looking at would be 3 floors at 341 39th Street. To occupy that, about 18, I'm sorry, I'm sort of running through this, about 36,000 square feet of interior space. And again, serving K through 5 with a maximum population of 330 students in that location. So those are the particulars. Again, we've reviewed this previously at the November meeting, and all the notes that are listed in the attachment to the board packet. I will say that in November we asked them to come back and respond to several questions that came out of that public hearing and the board meeting that night. And they're very thorough and came back with the 4-page memo that's also attached to your board packet. So in the particulars that happened on January 12th last week, they went into detail about the site search that they went through. One of the big questions we had is, are there no other locations that this school could locate in other than in a manufacturing district, a current manufacturing district? And they went through very carefully to describe the intense search that they went through to try to find a location. They are handcuffed in a way because they need a certain amount of square footage, but they can't build a new building. Therefore, they're only looking at spaces they can afford that are within their per pupil funding limit. So essentially, it looks at sites that are not in as of right areas, but in areas that that may have a lower cost factor for them to lease their space. So they've locked in, or they've reviewed this location on 39th Street. It seems to fit all of their programmatic needs. They believe they can operate a school in this location. It does, as we all understand, would also serve the Sunset Park area very nicely on 39th Street, sort of the center of CB7. And they see that as a plus for this location. The biggest other factor was this issue about traffic. If you remember, we reviewed a similar application for another charter school on 2nd Avenue and 44th Street. And the board felt very strongly that that area was very difficult to imagine a K through 5 school in because the amount of truck traffic. It's really in the heart of the Southwest Brooklyn Industrial District. And just a reminder, we actually as a board voted to deny that application, very similar application to this one. The discussion that the Land Use Committee had was, we recognize that 39th Street is an industrial district, but in talking with the engineers and their council, there is a significant difference in terms of 39th Street than 44th and 2nd. Although it is a major route from the Gowanus Expressway up into the district, the particulars of that location are somewhat different in that the signaling at that location, because of 3rd Avenue and 39th Street, actually prevents a lot of clogging on that block, and the speeds are actually relatively slow for traffic going up that way. We were concerned about the change in the truck routes that DOT has foisted on us recently. But in talking with the engineers, it seems that that truck traffic doesn't seem to go up 39th Street to South and East Brooklyn. They would actually rather go up to the Prospect Expressway and through that location to, I guess, the Ocean Parkway, rather than trying to deal with the hill and the stoplights that they would have to go through if they were going straight up 39th Street. So a lot of that discussion with the Land Use Committee was raised. It was a big point of discussion at the previous Land Use Committee meeting. I'm not going to say that all those questions are answered. However, one thing that was new that the applicant did provide us last week was that they are seeking to hire a school safety management group or crew or company that will assist for the school. Is a group that, and this was a note that was sent earlier today. It has been involved with schools on the Upper West Side and the Upper East Side. They have done some work with a few Brooklyn schools. And essentially they provide more eyes on the kids in the arrival zone to manage them and make sure that they're safe and stay in the areas that they need to. And lastly, the applicant is proposing changing the striping of 39th Street. So it will create a drop-off lane very close to the sidewalk, thereby creating a more protected area for these arrivals and departures to take place in. So again, a lot of this you can see in the notes. The Land Use Committee, when we met to discuss this, voted to recommend approval of the application to the full board. The vote was 8 members in favor, 1 against, no abstentions. So the discussion, I think, for the full board tonight is that if you choose to affirm the Land Use Committee's approval, then the applicant can continue their process through BSA, and perhaps BSA will agree and grant them the special permit to open up at 341 39th Street. Let me stop it there. Are there any questions on that report?
I don't see any hands up. Oh, I've got a hand up.
It's
Cesar,
Julio.
do you want to call them or would you like me to?
Sure, I'll call it. Julio, go ahead.
Sorry, just as I raised my hand, I had a coughing fit. Thanks, John. I was at the meeting and I unfortunately couldn't physically participate because I was happened to be at work. But I'm curious regarding, I know 39th Street has been the topic of a lot of several conversations and was a topic of the conversation at the meeting, and I did join late, so I may have missed if it was brought up earlier. We did talk, there has been talk about the increase in truck traffic, and I'm curious if, and there's also simultaneously the concern of if there's any concern of parents and children crossing 3rd Avenue. And I noticed that the recommendation out of the Land Use Committee didn't include any conditions for DOT. And I'm wondering if that was considered at all, or if that is something that we should consider at all.
Well, with regard to the truck traffic, I think the applicant and the board agreed that, quite honestly, we still haven't seen the full effect of this change from the 20th Street truck route separation between and two ways. In that 20th now is eastbound. The assumption was that trucks would be coming westbound either on 19th. Am I getting that right? I think I'm getting that wrong. It's going eastbound on 19th. And then for, the idea would be that truck traffic would be coming west from Windsor Terrace, from the cemetery down to our district on 20th. As we all know, that the industrial park and proposed last mile warehouse would be going in on 20th. But in looking at and we don't know the full traffic count issue because we don't have all that data yet since it's been so recent. I think what the engineering consultants provided was that that there are actually easier routes for trucks to travel on, such as the Prospect Expressway, or staying on 3rd Avenue and trying to find other locations going up and over the hill. That the traffic on 39th Street, surprisingly, I think from my point of view, I'll just say, it was a surprise to me to see they did every 5-minute photograph of traffic conditions throughout the day. And the traffic was, kind of at a standstill when the street corridor was filled. But in other times it was completely empty, mainly because the signal at 3rd Avenue is such a long signal. It's kind of a weird condition that it actually is a sort of a natural funnel or stop to allowing traffic to jet through that zone. They don't have very many students, or they don't have any students west of 3rd Avenue. So they don't really see 3rd Avenue as being a catchment area for kids coming that way. They are willing to improve the ADA ramps at 3rd Avenue, and they are very willing to talk with us that if we can convince DOT to make changes down there. They've spoken with MTA. MTA is actually okay with relocating the bus stop. That's at the end there. I think I've got that right. Well, I mean, Richard will correct me if in a second probably, but I think the answers are still out there, or the questions are still out there with DOT. And I think, with the change in administration, maybe there are things that we could work together and use this, from my point of view, as a lever to try and get DOT to focus a little bit more on 3rd Avenue and the conditions there. Most of the kids are coming from 4th. Most of the kids are coming via subway. There are only about 16 that are arriving by car. 100 are arriving by bus. And the point they were making was that, frankly, little kids actually are very, controlled. It's actually the sense that they do not get to move around very much. And, I when my kid was little, I didn't let him out of my sight. So there really is a level of safety that they believe, with this safety company helping manage the traffic as well as the kids, that there's a level of safety that can be provided in this location. I don't know if that answers all your questions. I thought I picked up all of them, but let me know if there's another comment.
Thank you, Julio. Cindy, go ahead. You have a question for John?
Yeah, I might have missed this at the meeting, but is it correct that they did their traffic study, or that maybe it's not technically a traffic study, but on January 4th and 5th, because that was right after the snowstorm. I'm just wondering if that came up in the course of discussion, where there might have been lighter traffic on those days because of the snowstorm.
They did do it on January 4th and 5th. That's a good point. But also remember, I mean, there is no school there as well. We're looking at traffic conditions as they are now. But it did seem that there were, feast or famine. There were either a lot of cars moving very slowly or it was wide open and there were no cars, mainly because they were held at the stoplights on either end.
Thank you.
John, just again, I want to, oh, I'm sorry, Ray, go ahead, please. You had your hand up before.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, good, okay. I'm pro schools. I know that block because I'm building now, and there's a building across the street that is ready to collapse because of a specific truck company that keeps coming in and out and putting excess weight on this particular block. My concern is the traffic. I'm building right around the corner. I'm there all the time. Traffic is very heavy. My concern is for the children. So if that's the only location, I would suggest if they could put speed bumps on that block, I believe that would help. But it's a very congested area and I'm there almost every day. That's it.
I think Julio, you had asked earlier if there were any conditions. I think we had asked, those questions in November that we wanted answers from. I mean, I certainly think the hiring, the permanent hiring of a traffic management group is helpful. I certainly think we could condition the approval upon continuing discussions with the school and DOT to find traffic improvements, such as Ray said, like speed bumps or other traffic calming devices, bulb outs and such. We could add that to the mix. But again, it's a discussion with the school. I certainly think we have to think through if we are asking them to shoulder the burden of a traffic condition that is much larger than all of us. But they are very willing to do what they can to help.
Yeah. So, John, just before we go to the vote, there's another hand up. So, can you just clarify the rationale for why the committee voted to support? Just can you clarify that one more time, like the rationale for the support of the school?
Far be it for me to get in the heads of the land use committee members. I've tried that before and it's a fool's errand. But I would think that they did provide a significant amount of information about their site search. I mean, the thing that we keep going up against for a lot of these things is that we think, well, it shouldn't be in this location, they should find another location. But they have a budget, they get funding that's limited. There are only certain places that they can afford. I mean, I'm speaking, I guess, as an architect and helping institutions like this. It's not like they can go anywhere. And the areas where you would think that maybe a school building might work, are really, you can get a higher and better return for an apartment building or a commercial building or Chipotle or whatever all those businesses that are there. I mean, the school is limited in terms of its funding. Yep. So I think we really need to think through when we say these things of, oh, you got to find a different site. What does that really mean? And I don't have an answer for that, but I do. From my perception, it seemed like they did a lot of due diligence to try and find the right site. Now, I think the traffic thing it's an open question. I think they recognize that it was one of the biggest issues for us. I think the hiring of the school safety group is a significant thing. But look, I'm just one person. Certainly toss it to any other land use committee member who wants to chime in. Yeah. And again, I mean, it wasn't unanimous. There is some discussion about this.
Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I kind of wanted to clarify, like, particularly around the due diligence, right? Because we've been in talks with these folks and we had a whole set of concerns and questions, including like, why this spot? What other spots did you look at? And, they could have just said, compiling all of the rationale to support why this spot is like, a lot of work for us, but they did it. They looked into the traffic that we were so concerned about. And I think John's absolutely right that, there are still questions. But I think it's important to sort of acknowledge that that they have been very willing to do the due diligence and to work with us thus far. That being said, Monica, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, John. I think I actually missed something, so I apologize. You were mentioning being that they're young children, that there's a plan or there's ways that they can control their movement in terms of ensuring safety. Did I miss something about that? Like, can you elaborate on that?
Yes, the applicant, the school is going to contract with, and I apologize, I have it on an email, it's just not right up now. They're contracting with a group. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I don't know why my computer is going slow. It sounds like I'm really vamping here for time, aren't I? And it's a private company that actually is part of the consulting firm of Sam Schwartz. Sam Schwartz, you may know, Gridlock Sam was a former DOT commissioner way back in the day. And I apologize, I can't seem to find it, but I can get you the information a little later, Ravika. But it's a private company that will provide staff to manage the arrival and departure of the kids and parents and buses and cars at a time period when they're all coming to the school. So sometime during the early morning, and they're also looking at staggering the arrival times for the different grades, so they're all not coming at once. And then when kids leave, they would set up actually bollards. They had something called was it discretionary something or other, movable bollards, basically, that will isolate a lane at the sidewalk, so that when the buses and the cars come in to pick up their kids, they actually are funneled into this lane, and it effectively creates a little barrier between the sidewalk and the traffic lane further over. So this group will help to manage the faculty members and administration that are dealing with the departures at that time.
These are typically ed consultants that focus on like school safety stuff. Sometimes they focus on like
we had asked them if this had ever been done before, and they came back and said that there is this company does do this. They have worked for a couple schools. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Sam Schwartz Pedestrian Traffic Management Services. They have a website, www.ssptms.com and ssptms.com. And they are currently working at the Columbia Grammar and Prep School on the Upper West Side and the Trevor Day School on the Upper East Side. And they've been at Columbia Prep since 2013. And they've had a longstanding relationship with that school. I mean, we could forward this information to the board if they want, but it's essentially a insured, certified safety staff that is more than just school safety officers. They're actually I guess professional safety officers, and it's not just one or two, it's several.
Thank you, that's really helpful, John. Thank you.
Okay, Dan, I think you had your hand up, Dan. Okay, I think we lost Dan. So I'm gonna, if there are no other questions for John, I'm gonna go to the vote. So one more, oh, I'm sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah, just to Julio's point from earlier, do we want, I'm just wondering, I mean, I realize that the vote didn't include any provisions for Department of Transportation or tie it to anything there, but I'm wondering whether that might be a possibility.
I'd be willing to hear a friendly amendment.
Okay. I'm hoping that there's someone
So Julio, did you have anything specific in terms of language for a friendly amendment on based on your point?
I mean, I know we love studies, but I don't know if this makes sense, but maybe we can, and DOT is our BFF lately, but maybe we can talk about Department of Transportation and 39th Street. And I know that's an ongoing conversation, but I'm just really worried about 39th Street. And like right now, we may not be so concerned, but I'm thinking like 3 years from now, it's going to be even worse.
You know, I think in addition to that, Julio and John, I think anytime we're able to articulate put in our 2 cents about things that we prioritize and in this case find very problematic, I think it's just worth the opportunity to do that and to have multiple sources of data for our hotspots, if you will.
All right, so how about the first one? I'm going to propose my own, amendment, I guess. That the applicant continue to participate in CB7 review and study of the 39th Street corridor with regards to truck traffic and pedestrian safety.
Yeah.
We would like them to, commit that they will continue an ongoing discussion and commit to an ongoing discussion for review and study of truck traffic and pedestrian safety on 39th Street. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good to me. So what we have on the floor is a motion to support.
Well, and then just to address your issue, and then for further consideration, we request that DOT meet with CB7 to discuss possible safety improvements to 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
And 39th Street.
Right.
Because it's 2 separate things. One is to the applicant, the other one is for further consideration, sending it up the chain to the other agencies to put a marker in the sand saying that this is what we'd like to see happen.
Sure. And it kind of operationalizes and models to them that we don't live in bubbles, that this is all in context and this is our context. Cindy.
Yeah, and is there a way that for further consideration, we can provide something in there about the fact that we have been requesting a comprehensive truck study of the district, and there are concerns about like the safe loss of life and safety issues on 3rd Avenue, something to that effect?
We request DOT meet with CB7 to discuss safety improvements, 3rd Avenue and 39th Street. We have continuously been asking DOT to provide a forum for us to voice issues about loss of life, etc. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so I'm sorry, Nick, one last thing, and then
Yeah, I would just reiterate to that point how long we have been requesting it, and that's it.
Thank you. Okay.
10 years, 20 years? Jeremy?
Well over a decade, Jeremy, correct?
Over a decade.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're ready to go to a vote. So John, we're just to be clear, we're voting on a motion to support the school's application to proceed with the BSA process with the 2 friendly amendments we just discussed.
I guess the question, Jeremy, point of order is, do we need to ask the school if they'd be willing to agree to that?
So I'm not the one who answers point of order, but I will say we could vote on anything that we want.
Yeah,
So
Julio,
what do you? Yeah, Julio.
They don't need to agree to it. It's our vote.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, but it's a condition. So this approval is conditioned on them participating.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay, so could we do this through let's do a roll call vote. Let's do a roll call vote on this one. So who's going to call the roll?
I've got it, Cesar.
Okay, go
All
ahead.
right, board members, I'm going to mute everybody. When I call your name, please unmute yourself, give your vote, and I will acknowledge it and then mute yourself again. Let's start with Ramon Acevedo.
My vote is no.
Thank you. Sandra Alfonso.
Yes.
Thank you. Grisel Amador.
Yes.
Thank you. Genesis Aquino. Genesis Aquino. Folks, if you're not voting, please mute yourself. Nicholas Azadian.
Yes.
Thank you. Mohammed Bahi.
Yes.
Thank you. Joan Body.
Yes.
Thank you. Stacy Boyd.
Yes.
Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Gladys Bruno. Jalixa Camposano.
Yes.
Thank you. Joseph Canali.
Yes.
Thank you. Justin Collins. Justin Collins.
Yes.
Thank you. John DeLuper.
Yes.
Thank you. Beatrice DeSapio.
Yes.
Thank you. David Estrada.
Yes.
Thank you. Cynthia Felix.
Present.
Thank you. Present or abstain?
Present.
Thank you. John Fontillis. John, you're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Kin Fung. Kin Fung.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. John Garcia. John Garcia. Anthony Gilio. Anthony Gilio. Cynthia Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you. Hector Gonzalez.
No.
Thank you. Kenny Guan.
Abstain.
Thank you. Nicole Huang.
Yes.
Thank you. Zachary Jacy. Zachary Jacy.
Yes.
Thank you. John Johnston.
Yes.
Thank you. Beverly Kleinman.
Yes.
Thank you. Wyco.
Yes.
Thank you. Joseph Lara.
Yes.
Thank you. Barbara Lee.
Yes.
Thank you. Christina Lem. Christina Lem. Jimmy Lee.
Yes.
Thank you. Paul Mack. Paul Mack. Antoinette Martinez. Antoinette Martinez. Arelis Martinez.
Yes.
Thank you. Marilyn Melman.
Yes.
Thank you. Dan Murphy.
Yes.
Thank you. Gloria Rodriguez Novoa.
Yes.
Thank you. Julio Pena III.
Yes.
Thank you. Rovika Rajkishan.
Yes.
Thank you. Karen Rolnick.
Yes.
Thank you. Patricia Ruiz.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sam Sierra.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Slater.
Yes.
Thank you. Victor Swinton.
Yes.
Thank you. Cindy Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Thank you. Catherine Walsh. Catherine Walsh. Fred Wolf. Cesar Zuniga.
Yes.
Thank you. My count is motion carries 36 in favor, 2 opposed, 1 abstention with 1 voting present.
That's what I have too, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Okay, John, I know we have another section for your committee. Just one quick announcement. I just want to remind board members, we're going to have an upcoming roll call. So I would stay by your computer. If you are not able to respond to the first roll call, there's going to be another one coming up very shortly. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. All right, John, get.
All right, sorry, you're going to hear a lot of me tonight, but I'll try to make this one quick. On the 12th, we also had a discussion with Jim Glazer and Victoria Alexander. Jim is a resident of the block that Grand Prospect Hall is located on, and he and Victoria have put together a group called Save Grand Prospect Hall. They were very concerned with the demolition of the interior of Grand Prospect that occurred in August last year, 2021. And they are trying to put together a group that could try and influence any development activity that may go on that site in the near future. They've had a couple of successes recently. They did try to file for an injunction against demolition of the building. That did temporarily stay that demolition for a couple of months. Unfortunately, that has since lapsed. They are also trying to do a sort of a land use approach to try and convince the developer to look at alternatives and just sort of a for-profit as of right development, perhaps looking at affordable housing or different other types of land use, including maybe a cultural facility that would recall the activities that happen at Grand Prospect Hall. I would assume everyone knows Grand Prospect Hall, that I don't have to go through the incredible history that happened at that location, but I will say it is on the National Register of Historic Places. Therefore, it doesn't give a owner of the site ability to tear it down. Really, that's New York City landmarks, of which it is not. But it does provide funding if anyone wanted to restore the building. There's tax-free credits that could be applied to it. And it is one of the highest honors that a building can get from the federal government. We all know it as the place where the Halkias family sort of ran a fantastic meeting hall. I'm sure everyone's bar or bat mitzvah happened there, or some other wedding, or you've all been to even community board meetings we've had there as well. And it's had a long history going back to vaudeville, political rallies have occurred there. Al Capone was a regular there because he loved opera, and it was an opera venue as well. And most recently, it's been the site of the Balkan Fest and numerous Halloween parties that we will, many of us will remember. So when the site was sold from the Halkias family to a developer, Angelo Regas, they moved very quickly to remove all of the interior fittings. So right now the building that's there is a shell around empty space. And the developer is proposing an as of right project that has not been made public yet. But the concern is that if it moves ahead, there is no ability for the community to have a say or input on such a large site. It is actually one of the largest sites. It used to be 12 separate lots that have been aggregated together. Albeit it is an R6B zoning district, which means the buildings can't be much more than 5 stories or 50 feet. Because there's so much land, there could be a very dense development going into that location. So you can see from the the board packet, the Save Grand Prospect Hall group has been trying to put together a petition to argue for more public input. They have many supporters, including the new council member Shahana Hanif, in which this project is located in, as well as Alexa Vilas, Marcella Matains, Bobby Carroll. This is Joanne Simon's district as well. She's been a supporter. Jamani Williams is a supporter, and our former council member Carlos Menchaca as well. There's been a lot of press and PR recently, most notably an article in the New Yorker that has a great history of it. If you can get that and read it, it tells a lot about the story of the building. And then an op-ed penned by Jim Glazer in the Daily News. So we spoke a lot with Victoria and Jim, and the committee felt that maybe the thing to do would be to write a letter of support for their efforts to recognize the historic significance and cultural significance of Grand Prospect Hall. Again, we don't know what the development plan will be, but perhaps the full board would be willing to propose that the developer include a cultural facility in the plan. If they can't keep the building, that maybe a event hall could carry on the idea on the site of Grand Prospect Hall. And then lastly, there was some thought as to talking with elected officials to perhaps look at the Prospect Expressway, capping that and creating some new land there for public purpose. I think the idea here is that we were a little too late. We weren't able to landmark this site. Both Nick Azadian and Cesar felt strongly, well, this should be a wake-up call for us that there are other buildings in the district that may need some protection, and in particular, maybe the board office on 44th and 4th, that maybe we should start looking at other places where the historic and cultural significance of the community has been a large part of that heritage, and we try to save those locations as well. But perhaps one could use the new infrastructure bill and sort of the new realm of elected officials to convince them that maybe capping the Prospect Expressway at that block could do other things for public purpose, such as open space, affordable housing, or some other type of public use. So I just wanted to leave it at that. You can certainly see a lot of the discussion that was in the packet. We will also circulate a letter, but I think what I would just, I don't know if this is a vote or anything, but I think I would like the board's permission to draft a letter that would go out under our letterhead, on our letterhead, that would advocate support for their efforts, Save Prospect Hall's efforts to try and find a public purpose on the site.
Okay, so John, again, just to be clear, the letter is specifically to voice our solidarity with the idea of preserving the building, right? So we're not gonna, the letter obviously can't wade into matters about purpose of land use. Is that correct?
Well, no, I actually do, I think it's the other way around. I think we would advocate for some means to recognize the historic significance of the building and the site.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we can weigh in on whether or not the building should be demolished or use changed. Frankly, from my point of view, I think, again, this is just my point of view, dumb architect here. I think all the things that made it such an amazing place, the interior, are unfortunately gone.
Right.
it is really just a concrete shell now. It does have some decoration on the front side on Prospect Avenue, but I think the things that made it Grand Prospect Hall are unfortunately have been removed. But the idea of having a cultural use, a community facility, a community event space, I think is a valid one. And that's what I think the letter would want to stress.
Got it. Okay, so let's have a discussion now for just a moment, and then we'll defer to John as to actually putting the letter together. Dan, what's up? You want to comment, question?
Thank you. Yes. Just one question for John. John, was there a vote taken at the committee on this proposal for a letter of support with all the information inside?
Well, because it wasn't a land use, it doesn't have any, we don't have any.
Right, but it doesn't, the committee can propose anything it wants. Did it come out of committee?
Well, the committee agreed that we would write a letter.
Okay.
In support.
Okay, so then I'll just take your request for a letter as a motion to write a letter, and I'll second it. And without stepping on any further discussion, I propose that we support this letter by acclamation. That's it.
Cindy.
I mean, it is in some ways just a letter, but could you provide clarification why we can't put in the letter that we would like to see the building remain? I mean, architecturally speaking, from the outside, it does have historical character, right? And if we acknowledge that it is kind of has a symbolic past, isn't there any way that we can just articulate as a board that we'd like to see the building stay if that's possible? And then also indicate that we would like to see a public use. I'm just wondering about why, if this is a letter, understanding that we may not have the teeth because it's as of right, why wouldn't we ask to preserve the building in any future plans if that's possible?
We certainly can. I didn't mean to imply that we don't have that. We can write anything we want, right? So I think the thing I would like to say is that landmark wise, Ken, really? Mute yourself, please. Jeremy. Thank you. I think we can certainly request that the building be incorporated into the plans. And then also ask that a public purpose be considered on the site. Landmarks declined to make a landmark. As you know, landmarks is really focused on the outsides of buildings. They don't really think about insides. Albeit, David Estrada did point out that there were a couple of buildings in our district, such as the school catty corner from the board office, the old precinct house, that was made a landmark, even though it had been in such abandoned state. And then the house that the doctor that ran Lutheran on 51st Street, I'm blanking out, 55th Street.
I would just say, like, the building does have character, and we don't always build new buildings that look like that, and it will still spark, it has meaning in the community in the way that it appears. So I don't know. I'm in favor of it if we can put into the letter that we really value as a community its historic and cultural significance, and would love to see the physical building remain as part of the plans. My question is, why wouldn't we do that, even though I realize it may not have teeth?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. All right, so let's. I want to get this going. So Nick, and then Karen, and then let's get to the vote. Go ahead, Nick.
John, I think something along the lines of we would encourage the developer to incorporate the facade elements representative of the original structure, and also to pursue community facility use within the structure, and then also granting an FAR bonus if feasible, something like that.
Thanks. Karen?
Yeah, unfortunately, I just think this is an example of too little, too late. There's no purpose to my point of view of keeping in a shell of a building it's hollowed out of what made it wonderful. And I also want to point out that the cemetery is putting up a cultural center a few blocks away from that in the old Weir florist shop. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay, thank you, Karen. All right. I think we have a motion and a second, and I would like to move this through unanimous consent unless someone objects. Okay, I don't think I see any objections or hear any objections. So with that, I'm going to say the motion carries. John, let's check in about writing the letter with Jeremy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John. So I want to just continue, but first I want to acknowledge Alexa, our new council member. Welcome, Alexa. And I want to go ahead and give you the floor. Alexa, hi.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Happy New Year. Officially, finally, in this new role as your council member. So very excited about that. Just for a couple of minutes to let you know where things are with the office. We are finishing up onboarding a full staff. So we will have a staff of 6. Many of you know that some of you may not. Edward Cerna is our chief of staff, Sunset Park native, former actual CB7 board member, was with the mayor's office. So we're very excited. We have an incredible team that's going to be working with us. In our office, we have language access of Spanish, Mandarin, Cantonese, some Portuguese, and even a little Russian. So we really do have an office that will be able to reach our community members and speak in all the languages, although I'm sure there are a few that we need to work on, like Arabic. But by the end of the month, we'll have all of our staff members on board. You should know that our office has been open since January 3rd. So we have, while many offices are remote and shifted to remote, we thought it was really important to begin to welcome community members again. And I will say, we have had more than 150 constituent cases in 2 weeks. The needs are great, and our community really needs to see people and engage. The remote notion does not work for a good portion of our residents. So we're here, we're at your service. Just in terms of a couple of big picture things, we are, I guess our office hours, just to let you know, right now is 9:30 to 5:30, but honestly, we've been here till late at night, and we will probably shift office hours according to what residents need and where we'll have the most impact. So we may have some more evening hours and maybe some actual weekend hours to make sure that we're accessible to residents. If you need, the office is still in the same place as the old one, 4417 45th Street. Email district38@council.nyc.gov. Let's see. I guess that's in terms of logistics. And then just like big picture issues, obviously there is a lot going on. I just found out about committees at City Council, and I will be chairing actually the Public Housing Committee, which will be really great for Red Hook residents and public housing residents across the city, hopefully. And in terms of other committees that I'll be on, it's important for you all to know, because this will be a place where we will really dig into things that impact the district. But I'll be serving on the Education Committee, on the Housing and Buildings Committee, on, oh my gosh, it's actually escaping me, on the Youth Services Committee. I was appointed to a special task force on fire safety, given related to the fire in the Bronx, and given that our district has had so many really terrible, unfortunate fires, we're really looking to, dig into ensuring there is accountability and that landlords are doing better by their residents. So I think there's one committee that I left off that I'm forgetting, but stay tuned, more to come. And just so you all know, received a call from Leader Schumer that we were awarded, $29.8 million for the offshore wind will be coming to our district. So that's a really exciting, obviously long-term project, more to come on that. But I was very excited to get those resources allocated to the district. I won't talk a lot about, obviously test and trace has been a big deal in the community, and we've been really troubleshooting and trying to distribute KN95s, more rapid tests, any supplies that we can get from the city. So if you have additional requests for that, please reach out to the office. We have been distributing it through different parts of the district based on need. We have been working and, nudging along test and trace in the Department of Health for increased testing. Obviously, while the state surge seems to be decreasing, the numbers in Sunset Park are still pretty significant. So just would encourage everyone to, again, get tested, get vaccinated, and if you need additional supplies. Obviously, the school situation is one that we've been keenly engaged on. We have a difference with the administration and have been hard advocating for a hybrid or a temporary remote option for those families that do not feel safe or who should not be in the school building, so that those children can get live instruction as opposed to the asynchronous instruction that some are getting, and a good many children are not getting anything. Right now, we have close to 200,000 children who are missing from school on a daily basis. And that is frankly unacceptable. So more to come on that. We are pushing the new administration to be more flexible and to really listen to what constituents are saying across the city. And obviously it's a mixed bag. There are many, many students who need and whose families want them in the school building, and there are others that it doesn't work for. So we're asking for more flexibility for families. So happy to talk to you about that. And I guess last thing I'll mention, the board should have received information about a participatory budget idea collection. So, in the past, Carlos would do a $2 million PB process. Given the timing of this year and coming in and staffing, we are going to be doing actually what I'm calling as a PB light process. We're reducing the amount this year to 1 million because we really feel like the program needs to get rejiggered. And there's a good number of projects that never have materialized for our district that we need to investigate and push really hard on. So I just want you to know that is part of the work that we are also doing. We want to find out where those resources are and make sure that those projects materialize, or that we find out where our money is sitting. So again, I welcome conversations, issues, reach out to us. It's good to see you all, and I'll leave it there.
Okay, you have a time for 1 or 2 questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, anybody have 1 or 2 quick questions for Alexa? Because we gotta keep this moving. But I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions. Anyone?
I don't see any hands.
Okay, thank you, Alexa. Thank you for coming, and we're looking forward to working. Okay, so I think we're good. John, we're done with your committee, and now I'm going to turn it over to Cynthia. Cynthia Gonzalez, Health Committee.
Yes, I would imagine that people did receive my report, which I believe was very detailed, and I'm willing to entertain questions about that if there are any.
No, we don't. I'm sorry. There's a vote required, but that must be a typo. And if there is no vote, then I'm going to refer everyone to Cynthia's report. And
well, the committee did vote on. I'll tell you right now.
But I guess my question is, do you need the board to vote on anything?
I don't, I didn't know if we needed the committee to vote because the first presenter did not, it didn't require a vote. The second presenter, however, the Genesis, Brooklyn Genesis, a Detox of Brooklyn, they are seeking a letter of support for the their New York State Oasis application to open a outpatient clinic at their current location.
Okay, so so there is a vote. So we have to vote in whether or not we support a letter of support to support Genesis Detox application to the New York State Office of Addiction Services to operate an outpatient treatment program, correct?
Yes, that's the motion, basically.
All right, so the committee is recommending, we don't need a second, correct, Jeremy? Or do we? We don't, we do not need a second. Okay, so there is a motion on the floor to support Genesis Detox application to the state to operate a treatment program. So any discussion, any questions before we go to Julio, go ahead.
Is this a renewal or is this a new?
No, currently, Julio, they have been at that site for 5 years as an inpatient detox program, but their plea was that when they are discharging their people, the people are saying, why can't we just do our outpatient here?
Got it.
That was the whole premise of their presentation. And so, their organization has made this application to Oasis for the purpose of opening an outpatient clinic in the same facility.
Got it.
It's going to occupy 1 floor, and they have the spaces. They're going to be moving around their administration spaces to do, to have an intake space, etc. But, they gave a very, very comprehensive and good presentation. A lot of the community that was in the committee supported them because they haven't really caused any problems in the 5 years that they've been there. And it appears that the organization, they're from Sunset Park and they're very good stewards. So we didn't receive any opposition to giving the letter of support in the committee.
Good, thank you. One more question from Barbara Lee. Go ahead, Barbara.
Well, it's not quite a question. It's like I researched that and I was looking in Sunset Park to see if there were any other outpatient clinics in Sunset Park, and there isn't. I mean, all they have is the methadone clinic. It's something that's really, really needed for people in our community and those who really need their services. I wholeheartedly support it.
100%. Okay, good. So with that, I'm going to go. I want to try to move this by unanimous consent unless someone has any objection. Okay, hearing or seeing none, motion carries. I guess Cynthia, get in touch with Jeremy to put the letter together and we can get it out as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your work on this. Okay, let's go with our next roll call. Maria, can you, or who's calling the roll, the second roll call?
Okay, board members, I will be calling the names of the board members that did not say present when we originally did the first roll call. When you hear your name, unmute yourself, say present or here, and then mute yourself once again. Ramona Acevedo?
Here.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Gladys Bruno?
Present.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John Fontillas?
I'm here.
Thank you. Kin Fung? Kin Fung?
Here.
Thank you. John Garcia? John Garcia, Anthony Giglio, Anthony Giglio, Kenny Guan, Kenny Guan,
I'm here.
thank you. Nicole Huang,
Yes.
thank you. Beverly Kleiman,
Present.
thank you. Waco,
Yes.
thank you. Barbara Lee,
Present.
thank you. Christina Lem, Christina Lem, Jimmy Lee,
Present.
thank you. Antoinette Martinez, Antoinette Martinez, Gloria Rodriguez Navoa, Gloria Rodriguez Navoa,
Present.
thank you. Sam Sierra, Sam Sierra, Catherine Walsh, Catherine Walsh, Fred Wolf, Fred Wolf. Okay, that's it for the second roll call.
Thank you, Maria. Okay, Jeremy, do we have a list of representatives of elected officials?
Natasha's handling that tonight.
Great, Natasha, go ahead. Start calling, please.
Okay, I have Edward Cerna from Council Member Avila's office. If Edward Cerna is still here, please unmute yourself. Edward Cerna?
Edward, you could unmute yourself. Perhaps he's talking to his boss.
We'll come back to you, please.
Go next.
Yep.
David Sosa from Assembly Member Marcella Matena's office. David, if you're still here, please unmute yourself.
David Sosa? David? Move on, Natasha.
Okay, we'll come back to David.
I have Frida Zarita from Senator Myri's office. Frida, please unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. This is Frida from Senator Myri's office. A few very brief updates. As far as, so as you know, all elected officials at the state level have started session. So our Senator Myri is currently in Albany. As far as district office updates, for New Yorkers in need of rent relief, you can still apply to the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The program is currently not providing new funding, but a pending ERAP application will provide temporary protection from eviction. So if you need more information, you can call 311 and be connected to a free tenant legal assistant. And then as for assistance for homeowners, we know that homeowners are still struggling to pay their mortgage as a result of the pandemic, including those who aren't able to collect rent from tenants. So those who are now eligible for assistance through the New York State Homeowner Assistance Fund, you can apply online or you can call their number as well to get assistance. And then I believe that is actually it's super brief. Thank you guys for giving me the time to speak.
Okay. All right, David Sosa from Assembly Member Martinez's office. David, you could unmute yourself.
Hey y'all, David Sosa, District Director with Assembly Member Marcella Martinez's office. Just want to say our office is on 49th and 4th Avenue. We're currently closed due to some folks on the team have been sick, but we're getting back to 100% and we'll be open again soon. We'll be providing, we'll be sending out mailers and posting on social media when we're open again. But I'll share, if there's a chat, I can share our number and my email, and we'll be open again soon to provide services to the community.
David, there is no chat, but there is a Q&A, so please put it in the Q&A.
Perfect.
Okay, is there anyone else?
I'll go back to Edward Cerna because he didn't speak before. Edward, if you're still here, can unmute yourself?
Hey everyone, sorry about that. I was talking to Alexa here. I'm also in the district office. Just wanted to say hi. Everyone knows who I am. Really honored to be serving as chief of staff and looking to, deliver for this community and bring the same level of consistency that I had at the mayor's office. So again, it's not much is going to change insofar as me. So just look at the changes to be reflected in the district office. So thank you, everyone, and looking forward to working with everyone.
Any other elected official representatives?
Not names I recognize. I don't know if there's anyone here representing District 39. Councilmember.
There are a lot of new reps, some of whom we know, some of whom we don't know yet. If you are repping an elected official and we haven't met you yet, please just use the raise hand function. We're happy to call on you. I see no additional hands, although no board members either.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's go with next item on the agenda is the chair's report. I'm sorry, there's a hand up. Sam?
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to clarify. I was informed that I was marked absent, but I've been present and at the meeting and responded such at the first roll call.
Thank you. Okay, we'll note that.
My device died right after Alexa finished speaking.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I don't have much, and I know it's getting late. Two things. So I'm waiting to get some confirmation on dates for 2 weeks. I believe the week of now I'm forgetting, the week of the 31st and the week of the 7th. I want to schedule a executive committee meeting specifically to talk about some kind of a hybrid approach to our meetings moving forward. I at least want to start talking about it. I fully recognize that over the last couple of weeks with Omicron, it's been touch and go for a lot of folks, but I do think we need to start thinking about the resumption of in-person or some kind of a hybrid situation, because the other thing that I recognize is that people rightly feel uncomfortable meeting, and so that with balancing, I think what Alexa mentioned, which is like, I think some of our community, this format is not conducive to reaching them. I'm concerned about that. I've been thinking about that, but I think obviously we have to weigh everything with all of our safety concerns, and so I'm aware of that. I'm aware of the fact that there are going to be some complicated logistics that we have to figure out in terms of voting and things like that. But I want to start having a conversation about that. Even if it's to just put something in place at a later time, I think we really need to start talking about doing that, and really, I think pivoting away from just fully remote, and mainly, again, it's out of concern for not really being able to reach all of the districts, all of the members of our district. I have, as chair representing this community board, have been working a lot in the community related to high-speed internet access, and so I know the data pretty well, and there's a lot of folks who are not connected, and I'm just concerned about that, and I think we need to take that on in a very intentional way. And I guess the other, just quickly, I wanted to, I think the other real big issue that I want to put on the table for us to continue to think about is having a conversation about our role in facilitating, being part of a conversation around more comprehensive planning along the waterfront. Again, there are lots of lessons we've learned over the last several years around continuing to be reactive to zoning proposals. And I think it behooves us to start being a little bit more proactive, particularly around some of the waterfront conversations. I think the IBZ, as I think all of us can agree, is probably our most precious asset, and we should again take a more proactive position around development and conversations related to development. So that's all I have, and I'm now going to call on Jeremy for your report.
Good evening, everybody. It's 19 days into the new year, and it's starting to feel weird to say it, but I'm still going to say Happy New Year to all of you. So a couple of my items were already mentioned by Senator Brisport, the extension of virtual meetings during the COVID emergency, and the end of the New York State eviction moratorium. I'm not going to go into them, but we have more information on both if you are interested. I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that starting today, every home in the country, every household can order 4 free COVID tests. You can order them at covidtest.gov. I've ordered mine, and I've taken those tests, and they're helpful in helping keep my mom safe. I want to remind everybody that the Brown Big, I'm sorry about the choking dog. The Brown Big Organics composting is back, but people do have to sign up for it. It is available to this neighborhood. You could go to the sanitation website, or you could go to makecompost.nyc. We have the information available. I believe we've previously sent it out. We will send it out again to everybody. Following up on the sanitation and environment meeting we had, I believe it was in November, about flooding locations throughout the district. With regard to 37th Street, we've seen some quick action. The MTA has replaced their crushed outlet pipe from their parking lot, and they are shoring up their retaining wall. And DEP, this has taken us 20 years, almost 20 years that I'm aware of, to get done. But DEP is finally replacing the broken sewer pipes in 37th Street right now, between 4th and 5th Avenues. I'm shocked I saw Nick's reaction. And on Kermit Place, they are actually in the next 2 weeks getting an inspection for potentially having a pipe diameter that is too small. Something that has also been in a request in a study that's been in our request for at least 10 years in the expense budget. I also want to bring up, several years ago, we had a meeting on this, and it was brought up at that meeting as well. We've received DDC's list of locations in Windsor Terrace for permeable pavement and bioswales to be installed. And we will be emailing that out to everybody on our list this week. An interesting article I read a couple of days ago. I want to make everybody aware, US Power Gen, which has the power plants, the floating power plants at 28th Street and at 53rd Street, have announced retirement of the Gowanus Generating Station at 28th Street in November of this year. They will no longer be generating power using some of the oldest and dirtiest technology in the city at that site. It will be replaced with battery storage capacity on site as part of its clean energy transition. They will have 350 megawatts of storage over their 3 sites, which does include that site and the 53rd Street station that they have, the Narrows generating station. Liquor licenses, there have been 15 renewals and new applications since our last board meeting. And finally, the police department statistics have been emailed to all of you. Happy to entertain any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Old business. Karen, go. And Cindy, you're
I
next.
was just checking up to see if anything is being done about the community board member handbook that is mandated in our new bylaws.
Do we have any information about the handbook?
It's something that we're going to work on in 2022.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julio. Thank you, Karen. Cindy?
Yeah, just two quick things. One is whether we can add to that list the updates to our website to make minutes accessible and more accessible. So if there's any update on that front. And the other thing I just wanted to share, especially for folks who are new as well, but as chair of the Ability and Access Committee, we are going to be having a meeting within the next month to review a draft of priorities that we'll be submitting to elected officials and relevant agencies, as well as bringing to the board. We'd love for people to participate, and we are also seeking over the course of our next several meetings and really for the foreseeable future, if there are organizations that are within the community that are serving people with disabilities that want to present, please be in touch with the board office. We'd love to hear from them, learn more about their services, and share it with the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Cesar, may I briefly answer Cindy's first question?
Sure.
I've looked into the website. I think it's going to be rather easy, and I hope to have more information, perhaps even a launch by next meeting.
Amazing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, I'm going to recognize Grisel. Hola, Grisel. Go ahead.
Hola. Just to inform you that United Senior Center continue providing breakfast and lunch to the seniors. We continue making wellness call to be sure that the seniors okay or to ask to them what they need. We now providing activities in the Zoom program. And if you know any person who need any assistance, United Senior Center is there.
Thank you,
Thank
Grisel.
you.
As always. Appreciate it. Yep. Okay, any other old business? If not, let's move to new business. Does anyone have any new business? Okay, I don't think I see any or hear anyone. Now we are going to move. Oh, I'm sorry, Barbara, go ahead. No, we can. You're muted.
I just did. I'm muted.
There you go. Now we can.
You're so funny. Okay, so I live on 24th Street and 4th Avenue, and I'm just speaking for a lot of neighbors. There's a lot of problems with the garages on 3rd Avenue, illegally parking their cars outside, using the streets and sidewalks like their own personal garage. And they're just hoping something could be done about it because they keep getting blown off by Department of Transportation.
So thank you, Barbara. And I've heard very similar concerns related to 3rd Avenue, including the all of the campers and all of the shenanigans that go on with that. So I think what I want to do with this is just refer this to the Public Safety Committee. So let me reach out. Oh, Cynthia, go ahead.
So we actually had a meeting, and Jeremy did ask for some follow-up. We met with the captain, the associate captain. Is that the terminology, Jeremy, of who we met with, Captain Fung, that quit the next day?
I think so.
Yes. So we met, Cesar, and we brought up all these issues, as well as unanswered 311 calls that were closed. And then the very next day, he retired. And Jeremy did follow up and has asked for some follow-up for us, and we're still waiting for that follow-up. We have asked to meet with Captain Castro, and hopefully we will meet. Our February meeting, I'm focusing it on the fire safety, but maybe for our next meeting, we could re-invite them to come back to discuss this because there were many issues, and we even showed them photos. Many of the community members submitted photos, PowerPoint, not only Barbara Bayou, but throughout 3rd Avenue, all the way through the 60s. So that was something that we're definitely going to follow up on. But if you could give us specific locations, Barbara, we'll add it to the list.
Oh, absolutely. I can do that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And I think if you wouldn't mind, what I think we should do is have Jeremy do some of the follow-up. If we don't get a response or if we get an unsatisfactory response, if you don't mind, yeah, I think we should convene another meeting, invite them.
Yes.
And yeah, I think I think we need to have a meeting of the minds with the NYPD about some of these ongoing issues along.
I could save a step here. Jeremy's done the follow-up before you even asked, and the response has not been satisfactory.
That is correct.
So I think then the next step will be to reconvene as a committee, to invite them and to hold them accountable, to that we have a community present to voice some of their concerns. Okay, thank you.
I'll follow up with Natasha and Jeremy tomorrow with some dates.
Super. Thank you, Cynthia, and thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
No problem.
Paul, you had new business?
Yeah, something very quick. I received a couple complaints from the residents of 41st Street, mainly complaining loud music by a large group of people that are dancing around the recreational center within the Sunset Park. And I did send my staff to try to talk to the people, probably a group of about 200 to 300 dancers that are dancing at certain hours with the loud music. I had a staff talk to them, but however, nothing have happened. So I wonder what I might be able to tell the residents that they need to do.
So why don't we do this, Jeremy? Let's brainstorm this one offline, maybe tomorrow or Monday or Friday. Is that?
Or somebody should call me and we'll be in touch with the Parks Department about noise complaint.
Okay.
That seems reasonable.
Sure, I'll send you the additional information. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, so that's all on the new business. So now we've come to the portion of the meeting where we're going to entertain another public comment. Again, this public comment is for anyone to speak on any item that's not, or that was not on the agenda. So Jeremy, do you have a list of names?
Folks, you can raise your hand and we will call on you. Remember, there is a 3-minute time limit. This is available to anybody. I see one hand raised. Sylvia Augusto, you can unmute yourself. Sylvia?
I'm trying.
You're unmuted.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know if I'm allowed to, I am trying to understand this, how to work this, and I'm sorry. The detox center, it's right next door to my house. I'm sorry, but we go through a lot of stuff with the Genesis. And this should have been asked by the neighbors of the Genesis, not for other people to vote on without inquiring from us, the neighbors. The Center for Family Life is right next door. We have 2 hotels on our block between 4th and 5th. We have an elementary school around the corner. We have a middle school and the high school where the kids wait on the bus on the corners for the buses. We're going to have this traffic of people that we've seen them laying down in front of the detox center on the floor with their clothes halfway down. Is this what you want in our community? Because we don't want it. I don't think it's fair. And I'm really upset about this. We've had to deal with a lot with them. They park every single day on the sidewalk. They have a particular car that they used, and that car is parked on our block in front of their location every single day. Okay. We have the ambulance going there at least twice a day. I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, we have to deal with a lot. We have the shelters. We have 2 shelters on this block, 2 shelters up between 5th and 6th. We have one on 38th between 3rd and 4th. We're dealing with a lot. It's not fair. And now you're thinking about putting in another school on the lower block. What happens when these kids have to deal with people who are not all there and they need help? And hey, more, they should have the help, but it's not fair for us on our block. We have a lot to handle here, and we have to think about the children. That's my thing. The children are the most important. And we can't have this. I have a picture of one of them, and I'm taking a chance by taking pictures. And that's not fair. I should not be taking pictures of people doing wrong things. I could get myself killed. And I just don't feel like I'm putting myself in jeopardy for this. And this is what they're gonna okay this? That's not cool.
Thank you, Sylvia. I see no additional hands raised.
Okay, no one else. I think I just saw someone's hand come up.
Went up and down and up again. Siobhan Fagan, you could unmute yourself.
Siobhan, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to reiterate what Sylvia just said. I was the person who was being a little too chatty in the Q&A section. Sorry for the distraction, but the move to put the school on the block came as a bit of a surprise to me. My concern primarily is with the kids' safety on the block. Our street, the traffic, I don't know when it was that they did that study, but whoever pointed it out that it was on a slow day, thank you, because all you have to do is call up the Department of Transportation and they will tell you how many times that street light on the corner has been knocked over by 18-wheelers in the middle of the day, at night, all the time. It's not a safe place for children. And the fact that we're having this discussion about bringing a detox center just a little bit over a half a block away at the same time that we're talking about putting this charter school in for K-5 it's just very disturbing. So I just wanted to kind of share Sylvia's concerns and really hope that you will hold this charter school to any kind of extra criteria that you added to the agreement.
Right.
Thank you, Siobhan. I see no additional hands up.
Thank you, everyone. And with that, we've come to the last portion of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think we should have a roll call vote. I'm kidding.
No, thank you.
Motion passes. See everyone next month. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, everyone. Good
Bye,
night.
bye.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.